How is everybody? What's up? What's up? Real quick, what's up? Jason Summers, first timer to Slay Security Plus. Rohan Subhash. I'm not going to try and slaughter your last name with all due respect, but welcome to Slay Security Plus, coming in from LinkedIn. Space Tacos, Rich Palmer. I see a lot of my Thursday students. And of course, I see a lot of you from the Simply Cyber community and the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. Welcome. I just sat down. It's going to be an awesome Monday evening. I haven't streamed on a Monday evening in a long time, and so I'm really excited. A little bit of a different feel. Doing great. Going over a 601 exam on Friday. You know what's great, Bearded Noxery? And you came on a great day as I'm doing some domain in this. We're doing 701. So right now we're in 701. Hey, what's going on? Rodney Cagle, first time here from LinkedIn. Oscar Infante, also a first timer coming in from LinkedIn. I'll catch up on the chat. So one of the beautiful things about 701 is its on-ramp, and it's kind of, I think it's digestibility overall as an exam. I think CompTIA did a great job in the 701 version of the examination of restructuring it so it has a little bit more of a smooth on-ramp. I think the 701 tends to discuss some issues that we're seeing a little bit more in the hiring industry. With that being said, 601 is the one that I took. I think I will probably take 701 for fun and to get some insider knowledge. But that being said, we're actually doing domain 1 of the 701 exam. We're moving to domain 2, which happens to be our bad guys, right? Threat actors. I had to think for a second between the exams. So we're going over threat actors. So a lot of what we're going to cover tonight is going to transition great for 601 and 701. There definitely are some things in the 701 exam. Professor Messer talks about it, so you can go check that out. There are some things in the 701 exam. There's quite a bit of things that are different than the 601 exam. I remember between 601 and 501, between those editions, they said there was roughly 50% difference. And so there is some difference there, but either way, they're both a Security Plus certification, and it tells hiring managers and the cybersecurity community at large that you can speak the same speak, because you have a general foundational idea of what cybersecurity is. I'm going to catch up on chat, and then we are going to get rocking and rolling. I'm happy to see you, but expecting Hamburglers. I know. I am streaming in Luau tonight of our fearless leader in, is it just me or did he freeze? I might have froze. I have questionable internet out here in the cyber galaxy where I live. Taylor is unable to stream tonight. And so he said, dude, can you stream for me? I said, dude, I would love to stream. You've streamed for me so many times when I've been working or family stuff. And so I'm here tonight, and I said, I want to make up for the questions that we didn't do on Thursday because we had a special guest. And if you missed that video, go down live. We're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, check out Slay Security Plus's YouTube channel. Go to our live videos. Last week, we had DJ BSEC, IT security professional, sysadmin, longtime Simply Cyber community member, moderator for a couple different really well-known cybersecurity live streams. So we always have good conversation when he is on. But when he was on, we couldn't do any of our practice questions. And part of our learning strategy comes from that quizzing method where we test all the time, making sure that we're putting things from short-term into long-term. Space Tacos, I'm back. Laura Flores, welcome back. I see some brand new students, and I see some of my longtime students. So I think without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Slay Security Plus. My name is Jesse J, aka the Cyber Outlaw, the Cosmic Cowboy, and I am broadcasting live tonight from a nondescript home studio in Western Colorado. And here in the next hour or so, me and Laura Flores, Space Tacos, Bearded Noxery, and a lot of others of you on YouTube, I hope LinkedIn, and then I hope Twitch, are going to be navigating our cybersecurity community. We're going to be building community, talking about certification strategy, and what you came here to do efficiently and quickly slay your CompTIA 701 Security Plus certification. This is all beginner friendly. This is long timer friendly. And so we welcome you to Slay Security Plus. Slay Security Plus is brought to you in part by our good folks over here at Simply Cyber. And so whether you are trying to level up, trying to get into cybersecurity, level up your cybersecurity career, maybe your boss wants you to be more involved in cybersecurity, or you just want to change, check out Simply Cyber, Dr. Ozier and the crew over there with over 20 years of experience from Dr. Ozier, 16,000, and these numbers have only gone up since then, 16,000 students and over 101,000 viewers on YouTube. So really, whether you're trying to level up in your career, whether you're trying to learn more about how the cybersecurity industry works, whether you are trying to transition with no IT background into cyber, from military into cyber, you want to be an SOC analyst, you want to learn how hackers do what hackers do, check out Simply Cyber. Go to simplycyber.io. I've got links. If you're on YouTube, check out, we do have links in the description below, as well as other sponsor links and resources that you can use. If you're just joining us, what is Slay Security Plus? I'm sure you may have heard about it here on LinkedIn, or you've tuned into Simply Cyber's Daily Threat Brief, and you've heard Dr. Jerry Ozier talk about Slay Security Plus. I got into cybersecurity roughly 1 year ago or so, and it was frustrating trying to navigate the industry. I had a hard time figuring out which certification was the one that would get me into the industry. I found that the resources were overpriced and they underdelivered when it came to long-term retention and or efficiency. I think that there's a lot of different methods that aren't being used out there. from my experience as an educator, practicing mentorship, and then being kind of a long-time college career student, I've taken a lot of exams. And so I knew what a good exam was like, and I knew what good study materials were like. And I found the cost of current study materials were way higher than they should have been, especially for the Security Plus certification. I learned really quickly that getting the certification did not mean that you got a job. And so I said, I see all these people out there, including myself, spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get a Security Plus certification, which to me is inappropriate. It's horrendous. It's an awesome certification. It does teach you the ins and outs and the basics of cybersecurity, but it won't get you a job alone. It is based on theory, and so you're not getting your hands dirty, which that is the most important part. You got to do the work. And so I said, well, how can I, with the resources that I got and my ability to synthesize, curate, build relationships with vendors and with different educators, how can I take all of these amazing resources that are out there, filter the ones that suck, keep the ones that slay, okay? Get those out to you for free to little cost. How can I do that consistently? And so about a year ago, I started just broadcasting my study sessions, and it took off. I dreamed of something a little bit bigger than me, and so here we are. We want to bring reliable, actionable stuff that you can use. We are industry tested, no BS. We use different scientific proven learning methods, such as the gap learning theory, where we introduce topics to break them out, and then we quiz you over them and then keep going. So it takes it from the short term and puts it into that long-term memory. Zero to hero is welcome. We keep it inclusive, always keeping it zero to hero. So whether you're just getting here, it's day one, or you've been in the industry for a minute, we hope that you can find value from Slay Security Plus. It's freely available or low cost, and it's actionable. So if you're getting here day one and you want to take your exam, you can study with us tonight, immediately start retaining and documenting knowledge, and you can start rocking and rolling tonight. We're actionable. And then it's community driven. We are a community driven initiative. That's all there is to it. I see Team SC, Team Simply Cyber. I see so many of you coming from Jerry's community that he built up that greatly inspired what we're doing here at Slay Security Plus. I had the honor and the privilege of joining John Strand and the crew as an attendee, a student in the SOC skills class today, core skills class. John Strand is a phenomenal teacher. He really helps me see my path, my future. I see myself as a John Strand follower, a Jerry follower, right? If these guys were figures, and not that I look up to them like stars, but more like peers, these people that have been in the industry for a long time, and you want to be like them. When you find people in the industry, a John Hammond, a Jerry, a whoever, a TCM, a Heath, whoever you find in the industry that you relate with, see what directions and how did things work for them, throw those things in your toolbox and move forward. Watching John Strand teach is always so encouraging because it really takes home, be a good person, understand that you're going to make mistakes and we're not always going to get it right, but keep trying to figure it out. Keep moving forward. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Team SC, Regine Franklin, welcome. What's up, Mr. Whitlock? Good to see you. I saw you this morning first thing, and then again for our class, and now I'm seeing you this evening. A part of the Slay Security method as we are moving forward, and we have some first timers, is that we really focus on understanding that there is a method to the madness. You want to have some kind of plan when you're attacking a certification, especially these pop the bubble, memorization, fill in, multiple choice exams. We want to have a plan, and we want to have something, a direction to study with, right? And so we start with a practice exam. There is over 1,000 questions that Josh Madakor released. You can check out his LinkedIn. Just go to Josh Madakor's LinkedIn, and then he has linked over 1,000 practice questions that he has drawn up. Professor Messer has some good practice exams out there as well, and then we will, of course, be launching ours. But anyways, you want to start with a practice exam or a set of practice questions that are going to cover everything. You want to document your results so that you can see where your weaknesses are. You want to do targeted reading and targeted study in those weak areas. Quiz, review yourself using flashcards and friends and family coming to Slay Security Plus. And you repeat this cycle of practice, test, document, and again and again until you get about 95% overall of your practice exams. I use Professor Messer for that number, and it seemed to work across the board. And from the industry research, if you get 95% on all those practice exams, you should be ready to slay your Security Plus. There's not a ton of practice exams out there for 701, but there is some that are being released. And we here at Slay Security Plus have been privileged to be sponsored with the CompTIA, the official stuff. And so we can see a glimpse into what they're thinking, which is part of what we do here is we synthesize that CompTIA material and bring it to you at no charge so that you can study and see what they're looking for in this exam. What kind of terminology are you going to see from a CompTIA test writer? And so we want to keep it actionable. And like I said, make sure that it is industry results. Our sponsor for tonight's quiz session is Josh Mason over at Mason SC, your IT partner for secure and efficient future, whether you're looking for IT consulting, whether you're looking for vCISO, or you're looking for somebody to help show you the way for your CISSP course. Check out Mason SC. You can find him at masonsc.com, I believe, and then you also can find him on LinkedIn. I love how you have an OODA loop as far as your study methodology. That is absolutely right. You have to have an OODA loop. Evan says, Evan Kirstein, I hope I'm saying that right. Let me know if you could put that phonetically in chat so we make sure you get your name right. OODA loop. That stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. It's a common theme acronym that you see in military, law enforcement, and first responders. I spent some time as a cop for a short time. My degree is actually in criminal justice. And we were taught about the OODA loop, which is where you orient yourself. Where am I in the industry? Okay. So if we're going to use the industry, right? You want to orient yourself. All right. You want to observe, and then you want to orient. You want to decide. You want to make a decision. Like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to find a direction and I'm going to shoot for it. And then you want to act. And if you ever throw somebody out of their OODA loop, you throw them off balance, keeps them off focus. So you want to have an OODA loop when it comes to your study. You want to observe the material. You want to submerge yourself, orient yourself, test yourself, decide, and then act, right? And I like to look at that when I look at my trajectory in the cybersecurity career. I want to get a couple of entry-level exams, certifications, and then after that, just spread into the industry, network, build a healthy network. Really super important, can't be underestimated, and then go from there. Hey. You guys know this character really, really well. Let's get going on some practice questions. Lay down some ground rules as I get this fired up for our practice examination time. We do not put the answers in chat. I would ask that you don't. If you've watched Professor Messer's study sessions, we don't put any of the answers in chat. Those are done through the Vivox app. And here in just a moment, as soon as these ones and zeros do what they're supposed to do, we will have a live stream. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. What we want you to do is we want you to go to the Vivox.app. You're going to use this ID 134-405-342, or you can scan the QR code with your device, and that should take you right to this examination. No paywalls, no nonsense. I don't believe you have to leave any information. Yep, we can close out this old one. We're going to open this new one. So what this is going to look like, it's going to come up with some questions for you first timers. And then after you've logged in and you got yourself ready, the question's going to pop up, and then you actually can put in the answers yourself. I don't get to see who puts in the answer. It's completely anonymous. I can look at a graph of how many answers have been put in, but I don't know who is answering what. So it really kind of eliminates any kind of imposter syndrome, or maybe I'll get it wrong because nobody can see who it is, right? So no answers in chat. Feel free to log in and sign up. We're going to do about a minute per question tonight because that is approximately what you get for the Security Plus exam. And more on that. We do talk about that in other videos, but there's other videos that talk about that too on the internet. And just know you get about a minute per question, give or take. 90 questions at 90 minutes is what they say. It's not quite 90 questions. It can be up to 90 questions. Which category? Do you like that? Which? Good evening. And let's take off chat too, so we get a nice clean presentation tonight. Boom. I'll get chat. I can see your chat here over here. So keep the conversation going. If you have a question, let me know if this is your first time here, and we will rock and roll. Which category of threat actor is most likely to acquire confidential trade secrets from a global corporation to help a rival firm? A, nation state. B, unskilled attacker, previously known as script kiddie. C, hacktivist. Or D, organized crime. That question again, which category of threat actor is most likely to acquire confidential trade secrets from a global corporation to help a rival firm? One of the things that you can do immediately if you're studying or if you haven't taken a lot of multiple choice exams is you can immediately, without even getting into the weeds of some of the test strategies, you can just start taking away the answers that you know are incorrect. CompTIA will definitely give you some answers that you will look at, and pretty quickly your brain will go, these are not correct. They just don't seem like what the question is asking me. I highly suggest you make a mental note of those, because then your brain will automatically feel like it has less work to do. Because once you have one knocked out, now you're only choosing one of three, which for some reason just feels better to our brains than choosing one of four or one of five. Space Taco says script kitty just sounds so much better. And script kitty was funnier, it sounded cooler, but CompTIA not liking to be cool, they want to be professional and change the lingo. All right, 13 of you that are playing tonight have voted. Let's see what survey says. And the survey says A, nation state, B, unskilled attacker, C, hacktivist, D, organized crime. Which category of threat actor is most likely to acquire confidential trade secrets from a global corporation to help a rival firm? The answer here is organized crime. And we'll unpack that a little bit. But organized crime, these entities are driven by the desire for financial profit and engage in activities like ransomware schemes, which include the authorized acquisition and potential release of confidential corporate secrets for monetary gain. Option A of nation state doesn't fit this, because when we think of nation state, we are thinking of really much larger scale attacks, while potentially confidential trade secrets may be part of the attack. Nation states usually pursue much broader geopolitical goals, right? Their geopolitical, what they want to do in their mission isn't necessarily just steal confidential trade secrets for corporation versus corporation. It might have been this global here that might have thrown us off a little bit, but whenever we see acquire confidential trade, I think of organized crime. To help a rival firm, so we are looking at this financial motivation. I am testing a new bank of questions. I think it's these first 5. They are actually brought to you in part by Josh Matacora's questions. And so if some of them look familiar, that's probably because they are. Remember, what we do here at Slate Security Plus is we gather and we also synthesize industry resources that are really, really working well out there. And we bring them to you, and we also create our own, because we do know what works and what slays. Acid Burn, a cyber criminal, obtains sensitive customer data from an organization and demands a payment to prevent its disclosure. What motivation does this exemplify? Choose the best option. One thing we see in 701 is they break down some of the threat actors and threat vectors. They also include motivations and some other things to be conscious of, be aware of. Tonight's coffee is brought to you by Black Coffee. Remember, you can submit your answers at vvox.app, and that ID is 134-405-342, or you can scan the QR code. We are right in the middle of a study session, just slaying some questions from domain 2.1 and 2.2 of the SYO 701 examination, certification examination, 14 out of 15. Let's see. I wanted to check and see where everybody was at with that question because it threw me off. I got this one wrong when I was taking it. I take these questions myself to see how I would do if it was my first time, and I got this one wrong. And I don't know if it's going to make you change your answer or not, but I chose ransomware, and I got it wrong. So if you chose ransomware, just know that that is the incorrect answer. There's a key word here. Motivation. Interesting. The correct answer is A, blackmail. The situation is characterized by cyber criminals' demand for payment in exchange for not disclosing sensitive data, fitting the definition of blackmail. B, financial gain does not fit, as primary element here is coercion, not merely the pursuit of money. Option C is incorrect because ransomware typically encrypts data directly, demanding payment for its release without necessarily involving direct threats of exposure. And then option D, espionage, involves secret intelligence collection, not overt threats, right? So espionage is where I'm staking out the place, maybe insider threat, right? I'm working at the place and I'm figuring out the ins and the outs so I can tell the bad guy. Corporate espionage, spying, right? This is asking us about blackmail. I take your data. I said I obtain it. It didn't say encrypt it. It didn't say anything about what we typically associate with a ransomware. And that's something to take note about CompTIA and the exam structure. And that's part of what we're doing here at Slay Security Plus, is we want you to start to extrapolate these answers and these topics and do that being quizzed in many different ways, right? And so this is just one of the ways and one of the styles of questions you may see. Here is a best option, and we talk about this in other videos. Whenever CompTIA, which they do, they throw this best option in their questions. That is an indicator that the question is graded or weighted. It's graded not evenly. It's partially graded. So you can get partial credit for a better and a best option. If there's a best option, there's probably a better option. CompTIA doesn't release this, but we know that you can get partial credit by answering. Maybe you answered financial gain, and CompTIA says, well, financial gain, I could see that. It's not the best answer, but it's close to the best answer. And so you do get partial credit when you see things like best or most, those are good indicators. What characteristics determines a threat actor's effectiveness and scope of operations? How BA are they? How much damage can they do? Speaking of amps that go to 11, I'm all backwards. Got the Marshall here for a little Spinal Tap reference. You can't see it from here, but I turned all the knobs to 11 for funny. Driving, please read all. I am reading every answer. Okay. What characteristic best determines a threat actor's effectiveness and scope of operations? A, internal or external. B, resources or funding. C, level of sophistication / capabilities. Or D, data exfiltration. The question is asking us what characteristic best describes a threat actor's effectiveness and scope of operations. How big can their attacks be, and how effective are they? What characteristic describes that? Data exfiltration, we can scratch that one off immediately because it does not satisfy what the question is asking. It's not asking for a process or an attack. It's asking us for a characteristic, a describing word. Data exfiltration I would think of as more of a verb, an action word. Oh no, they're going to quiz us in grammar too? No. And yes, this is water. For all of you in the South, see me drinking out of a mason jar. We wouldn't finish the study session if it was a little grease lightning. Internal, external. Those are definitely characteristics that can help determine, but I don't know if they're necessarily what the question is asking. Resources funding is a good option. Level of sophistication and capability are both good options. If I were sitting down at the exam and I got this question, I would scratch off A and I would scratch off D, leaving me with B and C. And to go even further, if I was taking the exam and I wasn't sure on which it was, B or C, and I was getting on about a minute in the question, I would click whichever one I thought was just closest to the right answer, and then I would flag it for later. So that way, if you run out of time or for some reason the question is submitted, you at least submit it with what you thought was the best answer. Excuse me. It says 15 out of 15. That is everybody. Ding. B, resources or funding. The operational reach and effectiveness of threat actors are significantly influenced by their financial resource and funding. Option A, internal, external, isn't going to work for us because it refers to the source of threats rather than their operational capabilities. Option C, while important, and I'm glad that this description, this answer makes that clear, while important specifically pertains to technical skills rather than overall operational capacity. And option D, as we mentioned, was incorrect because it is an outcome of a cyber criminal activities rather than defining an operational characteristic. You guys are doing great. These are tough questions. Here's a job interview question. Make it a little different. You're being interviewed for position at X. You're asked to differentiate hacktivist from an insider threat. What is the difference, Space Tacos, between a hacktivist and an insider threat? What best describes these differences? A, hacktivists are motivated by financial rewards, while insider threats are driven by ideology. Nah. Insider threats have a global operational scale, whereas hacktivists focus on particular entities. C, hacktivists aim to vandalize websites, whereas insider threats are involved in fraudulent activities. Or D, hacktivists engage in cyber campaigns for causes, whereas insider threats exploit internal knowledge/access. Do you need Josh Mason to sponsor you a mason jar? That's so funny. Hope this stays plugged in. Got it right there. Oh, my light went out. That's okay. We'll get it back on. Right there, baby. There's that mason jar. I'll have to get that. I love that idea. Bear with me. I'm going to get my light situation. I feel like Jerry in the morning. Marcello 1231 1231. Welcome to Slay Security Plus. Luis Deuga. Hi y'all. Welcome to Slay Security Plus. Lone Wolf. I'm seeing some new faces and some new names. Welcome. All right, let's pop off this question and see what the survey says, huh? Let's see what they say. Boom. Slay. D is the most fitting answer. Hacktivists engage in digital campaigns to advocate for specific causes, contrasting with insider threats who exploit their internal access for various motives. And also remember, insider threats can unintentionally cause harm. These are people at work. These are your Carls. These are the evil Carls and the regular Carls. They're both Carls. What is the main strategy used by cybercriminals to steal/obtain sensitive information and sell it on the dark web for financial profit? What is the main strategy used by cybercriminals to steal or obtain information that is sensitive? It should have been kept confidential, which is the C part of the CIA triad, that being confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Remember the root method. Every study session, we need to be thinking. Every concept, what is the next concept? How does it relate to all these other concepts that I've learned? So whether you've learned one concept or you've already learned 50 concepts, how do they stack on top of each other? How do they involve each other? We need to be thinking that not just for the certification, but for our careers and also for getting jobs. You need to be thinking like a cyber professional. I remember when I first got into the industry, I saw a lot of wanting other people I would see that we're wanting to, but not doing, right? And I don't know who said it, and I'm probably going to slaughter it, but they said to be is to do, or to do is to be. It's either Nietzsche or it's Socrates, bro. Socrates, right? To do is to be. You don't just think like a cybersecurity professional. You start volunteering. You start doing whatever it takes in whatever area of the industry you want to do. You just start doing it. So do the work. Get your hands dirty. Get after it. Let's go. What is the main strategy used by cybercriminals to steal, obtain sensitive information, and sell it on the dark web for financial profit? Service disruption, internal, external factors. C, data exfil or exfiltration, or D, espionage. I haven't got, I ordered mine a while back, my Hunter Strong. Oh yeah, Hunter Strong. This is for you, Hunter Taylor. The Johnson family is praying for your recovery. We're praying for your family, for patience and wisdom in the doctors, and that your dad is able to continue to save people like he does. And also that we are praying that you have a speedy recovery for the Taylor family, from the Johnsons, and from Slay Security Plus. And I was going somewhere with that rant earlier. Yeah, you need, when you're studying for this stuff and you're getting into the industry, you got to think and be a cyber professional. Don't just study these concepts to know them. Study them and make them a part of your dialogue with your coworkers on LinkedIn as you're building up that tool set. Because when you sit down for an interview, you don't just want to spit out things that you know from an exam that will never get you anywhere. You want to have some kind of insight to the industry. If you don't have any experience, if you didn't do any of the home labs that you should be doing, you didn't do any of the free SOC classes that are being taught by people like John Strand, you didn't do any of that stuff, but you at least can explain, learn the ins and outs of the cybersecurity industry and be a professional. Get your hands dirty, do the work so that you can sit and have a conversation about it. The main strategy used by cybercriminals to steal or obtain sensitive information. Service disruption, right? That wouldn't make sense because we're disrupting the service. We wouldn't be able to get the information, or if we did, how are you going to get it out? It just doesn't really make sense. I think espionage is a strategy that some people use, maybe insiders or different corporations between each other to get information, but typically that's not how, and then internal, external factors are going to be part of it. But I think number C, I agree with the community at large. I think data exfiltration is the main strategy. C, data exfil. Cybercriminals primarily engage in data exfiltration to illicitly or illegally acquire and subsequently sell sensitive information for profit. Option A, or service disruption, it doesn't work because we're talking about different objectives. DDoS, service disruption. Distributed denial of service. Option B does irrelevant because it refers to directly relate to anything that has to do with the method. Internal, external factors may affect the ability for cyber criminals to steal or obtain that information, but it's not a strategy. And espionage typically involves state actors or corporate espionage, like we just mentioned, not necessarily the actions of independent cyber criminals, the CompTIA. And I would say that, that works. We got a few more of you kind and wonderful souls here watching on Slay Security Plus. Welcome, whether you're coming from LinkedIn, YouTube, you are coming from Discord. We love having you. My name is Jesse J, and I am your humble captain this evening. What we do here at Slay Security Plus is we gather and we synthesize the industry's best. Hey, Beth. We synthesize the best study materials and we bring them to you so that you have a one-stop shop for your Security Plus study methods. This is a long one. An employee reported seeing an individual outside of the office drop a few thumb drives. The employee grabbed those devices and brought them to the information technology department or the IT department. After conducting forensics on the devices using air-gapped machines, the IT team determined that the individual was trying to trick employees into plugging the devices into their computers to steal information. What was the malicious actor or threat actor attempting on an unsuspecting employee? The threat actor used an email lure. The threat actor tried to improve the company's security posture. The actor used a physical lure. Or the threat actor was not being malicious. He was just dropping a few thumb drives. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. Just dropping a few thumb drives. That was fast. That's a rapid fire. 100%. We know this. A project manager named Justin received a phone call from an individual requesting information for an ongoing project. The individual stated to be the account admin from a known vendor the company is working with. Before giving the information over, the accountant or the project manager should protect against what? What is Justin, the project manager, trying to protect against? Typo squatting, A, impersonation, B, C, a watering hole attack, or D, persuasive technique? Let's go through some of these questions and some of these answers and immediately take out the ones we know are incorrect. Watering hole attack, we know that a form of redirection. Redirections attack, DNS spoofing, right? We can think of those different redirection attacks. So that typo squatting, again, another form of redirection attack, right? I set up a DNS record with a malicious website with the name of something that's really close, so that when you type it in, you go to that wrong website instead. But those two are different. They're not what we're being asked. We're being asked this person who says they're the account admin in parentheses. So even if we know better, what is going on here? Is it the persuasive technique? Is it impersonation? Somebody answered that Spider-Man meme. Impersonation at 92%. Let's talk about persuasive or the consensus technique. Attempts to convince the target that the request is natural and it would be impolite or somehow odd to refuse, right? Persuasive technique. Let's say we're all talking in chat. how common it is and how we just all click a specific attachment. And you're going, man, I guess it is weird that I'm not clicking this attachment. I better do it because, man, the consensus says everybody else does it. Why not click it? This is my rewriting of the question. You can see what some things do on these. You guys already slayed this question, so I'll go through it. I like my version. In fact, my version, our version, I should say, Slay Security Plus version is, and I'm not dogging anybody else who wrote the other one. It was actually a rewritten from CompTIA themselves. Man, I got a lot of you watching, and if you're from CompTIA, I apologize, but the question was grammatically incorrect, and it was actually harder to kind of extrapolate what I think anybody taking the exam would have taken. And when that happens, it's hard to answer the questions. And that's why we have the outlaw mentality. Get it right, no matter what your name is. SlaySec Plus, a large cyber edutainment company, is in the process of creating a new marketing campaign for a soon-to-be-released SYO 701 course. However, before releasing the campaign, the company noticed an increase in fake accounts mimicking it online with a similarly looking campaign. What could the campaign do to mitigate this issue? All answer choices and all explanations in our description are brought to you by CompTIA. So they are not Jesse Johnson's. The questions have been, like we said, synthesized and curated, but the answers are from CompTIA, so you can get a better idea of what they're looking for. We're going to check for typo squatting. Are we going to check for brand impersonation? Are we going to check for coercion? Or are we going to check for consensus technique? I see people answering this question like crazy, so you must be doing the deductive reasoning and seeing the consensus technique. Coercion don't satisfy that question, so we could be looking either typo squatting or brand impersonation. How's everybody's day? When is everybody testing? Let me know in chat. Lone Wolf 999. If you wouldn't mind, I don't know if it's your first time here, and thanks for joining us. We actually don't throw the answers in chat. If you wouldn't mind scanning that vvox.app that you see on your screen. And if you don't have that, you can go to vvox.app on your phone or a different device, and you can type in the ID 134-405-342 and scan the QR code, and you can use that to answer the questions. We actually don't answer these in chat. And that's my bad. I probably didn't make that clear in the beginning. And so typically when that happens, that's on the instructor's fault, not the student. So don't blame yourself. Not a big deal. March, right around the corner. Are you taking, Miss Franklin, are you taking the 701 or are you taking the 601? Evan says he's waiting for his instructor to release the voucher, but hoping to test late this week or this weekend, depending on how I do on practice exams over the next few days. Beautiful. Slay, Evan. Man, I see all over the place in LinkedIn, encouraging the community, building other people up while you're building up your career, and it's awesome to see. Love the inclusiveness. I love what you're doing, how you collaborate with a lot of these other people out there. It's awesome. What? Space tacos? How's my day? Ecstatic, about to become the next IT cyber auditor at my job. What? Breaking like a wrecking ball. When you get those sound effects going, apologize to you that are just tuning in for that loud spike in volume. We celebrate each other, and I do celebrate furiously for people. Let's go, Space Tacos. Awesome. You've been working hard, man. I know you've been in the mix and grinding IT cyber for a while before I came in the scene, and then you, like Evan, are all over the community, including others, sharing resources. We love having you around Tacos. You're an encourager, and I'm glad to call you a friend. Typo squatting, we would want to look for that. We really want to look for brand impersonation. Right? Brand impersonation occurs when the threat actor commits resources to accurately duplicating company's logos, message, or farming website visually compelling. Typo squatting means the threat actor registers a domain, so we're looking at that redirection. So typo squatting, put a little equal sign and then put redirection. Typo squatting is a redirection attack. While we move into this next question, I want everybody to celebrate with you. So one of the things about I love the cybersecurity industry is we really are for each other. It's awesome. A flower pot shop received a phone call from a prospective client stating the company website looked off from what they were used to seeing. After an investigation, the shop owner discovered that the prospective client went to a similar looking website but not get to the real one. What caused the client to go to an incorrect website? Was it phishing? Was it impersonation? B? Was it C, a watering hole attack? Or was it D, typo squatting? Let's look at the question. Remember, one of our techniques is to see if the question can maybe shed some light on some of the answers for us. A prospective client stating that the company website looked off from what they were used to seeing. So clearly this person goes to the website. After an investigation, the shop owner discovered that the prospective client went to a similar looking website but did not get to the real one. Interesting. What kind of attack could this be? What caused? $14 of you have voted. I see some people have dropped and then more people came on chat. So we are doing some live testing. Scan the QR code and jump right in. Let's shut it down. Now we're starting to think like cybersecurity professionals. An impersonation watering hole attack impersonation watering hole attack aren't necessarily completely incorrect answers, right? It's just not exactly what CompTIA is looking for in this question. Typo squatting means the threat actor registered a domain very similar to the real one, hoping that users will not notice a difference and assume they are browsing the trusted site. Remember, phishing takes that combination of social engineering and spoofing to get credentials or other information. Brand impersonation does when we look at that impersonation. Brand impersonation or impersonation in general, where a threat actor tries really hard to look, sound, or feel like somebody else to get what they want. Impersonation is only referring to people, right? In this answer, and these, like I said, these answers are from CompTIA.org. So this is part of some of the studies that they have been put out. They say brand impersonation occurs when the threat actor commits resources to accurately duplicate a company's logos and formatting a phishing message, alarming website, or phishing website visually compelling. And Space Tacos, this brings me to an excellent point, which I think that they're doing better in 701 and maybe didn't do so much in 601, is whenever you see a question and you're looking at the answers, what is the context? right? And so we're saying, when I say what is the context, we're not looking at necessarily the website looked off. So brand impersonation could definitely be part of it. And when we see the phone call, the prospective client wasn't saying that they were being anybody else, and nobody in the question impersonating somebody else for the means of gathering credentials or anything else malicious. We're looking at something digital in this case. So if you were thinking person impersonation, this wouldn't satisfy that question. And then if we're looking at brand impersonation, we see that he went to a similar one, but it did not get the real one. So that could be definitely one of those questions that causes you to pause and think. But I think the takeaway here is that he went to a similar looking website, but not get to the real one. What caused that? And we think about the cause of typo squatting, right? Impersonation, is the result. The call was said, hey, it looks off. So the impersonation might have been the reason the person called, but what caused them to get there was the typo squatting. That cause in the verbiage in the question. A flower pot company received complaints from employees that emails with attachments from a known soil vendor have been acting up. An investigation confirmed a threat actor created an email with an attachment that appeared to be from the known vendor. As a result, the threat actor tricked an employee into clicking on that attachment. How did the threat actor convince the employee to click on the attachment? The threat actor sent an email lure. The threat actor sent a physical lure. The threat actor offered help to improve employee effectiveness. And the threat actor sent a vendor invoice. Thanks, Space Tacos. It took my brain a second to get to, and I apologize for that one. And that's part of building in public when you do these live streams. And I love the content creators. They're bringing awareness. Sometimes you get put on the spot, and I see other content creators do it. So you got to think and process through it. And it took me a second to get around to it to answer your question. But that's what your brain does. It processes and mind goes. So thanks for being patient. What about using something like the social engineering toolkit to create a duplicate website with a similar URL? I get the verbiage, but I can see how people could answer as phishing. Oh, on that previous question, I could see how phishing could be a cause for that. Sure. Maybe if we have time, we can go back and look at that question. But remember, that was asking really in context to what caused them to get there. He called and said, hey, your website looks different. Phishing typically is this combination of social engineering that we see and human error. So he could have been phished to the website. That doesn't quite satisfy what CompTIA is looking for. And that's what we're going to find as we answer more of these, is the answers that your CompTIA is going to be looking for a set of ideas from their studies, not necessarily always what is actually done in the industry. We've seen with our special guests sometimes how it's actually done isn't 100% what theory tells us. And that's why it's important that we get those other resources, do those home labs, get your hands dirty, figure it out. And while we're doing tonight's studies, take note of the word lure. I don't know if it's just in these practice materials from CompTIA that they send us that we see lure pop up, or if they're using that terminology in the 701 exam. I didn't see it a bunch in 601. I don't remember, but it looks like they might be using this lure terminology to relate with phishing, right? We use phishing lures. Physical lure would be the USB drive. An email lure would be that malicious email. A known non-governmental group posted an online message claiming responsibility for shutting down many parts of the electric and gas energy grid. The group claims to have performed this through a vulnerability in the company's supervisory control and data acquisition equipment, or SCADA, that controls the flow through the pipes. What best describes this group of attackers? This is an excellent question. This is an excellent example of a CompTIA style question with the best here. So you might see some answers, a good, a better, and a best. You always want to make sure that you answer every single question, even if you're not sure, because you never know if you're going to get partial credit. There's some key terms we want to look for in this question. APTs are advanced persistent threats in nascent states. This unknown non-governmental group, an NGO, a non-governmental group, kind of takes away nation state and it kind of takes away APT. Does that mean that APTs and nation states don't do these kind of attacks? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that that question, the way this is worded, doesn't satisfy the question. So that leaves us with hacktivist and insider threat. And from those two, I'll let the last 5 of you deduce that killer answer. Hey, I got to learn SCADA and ICS OT next. It's a great area to get into. I think there's a lot of jobs potentially in the future. Market does seem crazy, but I have full faith that as cybersecurity bounces around and we get our heads in the game, top-down change, I said it in last week's stream, it's got to come top-down change. And as we see more of a need for cybersecurity in our country, the advance of AI and machine learning, our jobs are not going anywhere. Now you got to tool up, you got to skill up, you got to keep up, right? The help desk jobs, the entry-level jobs that we once had that were readily available. I remember when I was not in cybersecurity and actually had no interest really necessarily in being in this career field, although I love computers. I saw the boom of cybersecurity. I think we will see it, we're seeing it level out, and then we had the decline. I think we're going to see it level out again. But I remember the skills were different than they are now. And so you have to stay skilled up. You have to stay in the now. You got to constantly be learning. Because yeah, those really level 1, tier 1 jobs, the help desk jobs, they very well could be assisted to such a degree by artificial intelligence, which is really machine learning at this point still. But we're going to see this proliferation, and some of those entry-level jobs are definitely at risk. But that means that there's going to be other entry-level jobs within the industry that are created from that, right? So from the shutting down and from the ashes of some things, other things will be created. Where are you going to be in that paradigm shift? Where's your career and your school, your skill set and your tools? Where are you when the paradigm shifts? Because if you're not learning, if you're not staying hungry, I promise you there are thousands others that are finding ways to get their hands dirty in cybersecurity. There are thousands others that are staying famished. You have to be hungry. Every single day, learn, network, ask questions. It's a journey, it's a lifestyle. And then after you get the job, it still doesn't stop. I think the brutal truth is, and I've learned this both the hard way, is that yes, cybersecurity is absolutely for everybody. I truly believe it is, but I don't believe that everybody is for cybersecurity. It does require certain things that you may not be just wired for. That doesn't mean that you can't work in the industry, because I think the industry is so inclusive. There's so many aspects, but some of these roles that we're putting on ourselves as pressure, change the type of pressure you're putting on yourself. Say, well, maybe I'm not for this area of cyber, but you have to understand the cybersecurity industry is so broad that you can find yourself somewhere in cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is for everybody. Everybody might not be for cyber, but you can find areas to which you can flourish your skill sets. Midori K says it's for everyone whether you like it or not, unless you want to live in a cave, no internet, which we don't. Jobs aren't going anywhere. Stay skilled up, stay leveled up, keep your professional network healthy. Whatever that looks like for you. Slay Security Plus and the way that we do our study methods might not be for you, but there is going to be a method of learning that is for you. Walk you through this one. A known so an NGO group. So we're looking at not a nation state. We're not looking at APT. We're not looking at an insider threat because I don't see anything in this question that leads me to believe that it happened through an insider, a current employee or former employee, whether incidentally or intentionally. Hey, Zach, what's going on? Welcome to the party, pal. What gave the one away for me was the posted a message claiming responsibility. When we see the claiming of responsibility, a lot of times it's coming from hacktivists. They do sometimes, and APTs can take responsibility. But we're seeing this an NGO group. That's what gave it. That's the giveaway to me was the NGO group that posted the online message claiming responsibility for shutting down the electric grid. Let's see what CompTIA says. Activists might attempt to use data exfiltration to obtain and release confidential information in the public domain, perform service disruption attacks, or deface websites to spread disinformation. Nation-state actors are the root cause of many attacks, particularly on energy, health, and electrical systems. The goals of state actors are primarily disinformation and espionage for strategic advantage. CompTIA, what are you saying here, guys? Nation-state actors are the root cause of many attacks, particularly on energy, health, and electoral systems. Right. Okay. I see what they're saying here. While nation-state actors do attack these things, the primary goals of nation-state the primary goal of nation-state actors is disinformation and espionage for strategic advantage. APT refers to the ability of an adversary to achieve an ongoing compromise of network security, ongoing, advanced, and persistent. Daughter just had to talk to the bank today. Midori K says was locked out of her account for some reason. What'd they find out? Bashir, a community member of Slay Security Plus and a security analyst, discovered that an active employee copied sensitive information from the company's shared drive and sold it to vendors on the dark web. What kind of actor describes this employee? An insider threat, a nation-state actor, a hacktivist, or an APT? You guys should fly through this answer. This one should be really straightforward. An active employee, what kind of actor describes? % of you said insider threat, and the correct answer is insider threat. We are rolling up on 6 o'clock, and that is about going to wrap up our 1 hour power hour of Slay Security Plus. It was awesome hanging out with you for a Monday night. Let's do one more question. And I have an asterisk here because these questions are test questions. These are practice test questions from a reputable vendor. And I'm testing to see, I did not write these, so I do not claim any responsibility for these questions. I'm testing to see their effectiveness. So the ones with the asterisk, that's teacher knowledge, that's specific to something that I'm testing on you all. You're my students, you're my student bank. So These ones with the asterisk are special. I want to see how you guys answer them. Hey, Jesse, how's it going? What's up, Austin? Good to see you. Which of the following threat actors is most likely to exploit unsecured networks using weak or default credentials for financial gains? Nation states, hacktivist groups, cyber criminals, or insider threats? Checking up with our family on Discord, make sure that we are not leaving anybody out as we wrap up tonight's session. Again, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me. It's awesome. I love doing this so much. $18 out of 20 should be flying through this question. Which of the following threat actors is most likely to exploit unsecured networks using weak or default credentials for financial gains? There's a key word in here. Yes, they are all. Organized crime would be the answer. Organized crime was not the one that was given by this vendor. And I'll probably tell you who the vendor was maybe next week, because we'll probably use some more of their questions. But these, we're going off of the questions that were given, the answers that are given to you. And that's what's going to happen when you go to sit for your exam, is you may see an answer that you know is just better in the industry, and the one that CompTIA provides you is good, but you have a hard time with it. Don't overthink it. CompTIA is not looking for maybe always the best industry answer. They're looking for what is the best answer that fits the question that they are currently asking. And 100% of you got it right. That's the thing, because you're able to extract that information and say, wait a minute, we know nation state doesn't really do this. Hacktivist groups aren't in it for the money. They're in it for the ideology, the message. Insider threats, the threat actor that doesn't do that, but it's a criminal. I'm really excited to tell you who this vendor is too. From the sake of my family's time, we're going to skip this one and move on to the last question, which was supposedly marked as expert. This will wrap up our domain review of 2.1 and 2.3. A group of hackers exploiting vulnerabilities in a certain organization's online platforms using spear phishing techniques launches a series of attacks disrupting the organization's services. These attack vectors target both software flaws and human element of the organization. Driven by disdain for the organization's practices, their primary objective is to raise awareness and bring about the changes. Damn the man. Boop. Sorry, Kennedy. Save the empire in the organization's conduct. Based on this information, what is the primary motivation of these threat actors? Technically speaking, Kermit the Frog with another fast-breaking news story. Is it A, financial gain? Is it B, vandalism? Is it C, political change? Or is it D, espionage? While you answer this question, again, I want to thank our show sponsors, Simply Cyber, Dr. Jerry Ozier, and Josh Mason from Mason SC for sponsoring tonight's session of Slay Security Plus, and all of you for showing up. You are the body that make up Slay Security Plus while we build this in public. Like I say, like Jerry says, like Taylor says, like Neil Bridges say, get your hands dirty, do the free stuff first, get the home labs, build in public. I cannot tell you how much you learn from doing things just out in the open, doing something on LinkedIn, build a portfolio. Even if you build a YouTube channel and never do anything with it, other than upload videos for yourself, get out there, get your hands dirty, volunteer, find those small and medium-sized business, introduce them to basic NIST frameworks, ask them if you can recommend some vulnerability management. Reach out to your local schools, see where you can help, find out how you can turn that into real world resume ready work, right? It's 2024 and hiring managers, certifications alone won't do it. You need to have certifications. They do help to get your foot in the door, some basic entry level ones. You need to have a healthy, thriving network, and you need to have some hands-on experience, whether that's through labs. You need to be able to articulate that you not only know the theory, but also that you've either applied it, that you're not afraid to break things and ask questions and get on Google and build a network and make eye contact. All these things. I love what you guys are doing. You are Slay Security Plus. The Kermit the Frog voice made my dog start barking. Justin Gold, you just absolutely made my night. Space Tacos, you guys rock. Nia, thank you. So I love what you're doing, Jesse. There's great value in what you're offering. Stay awesome. Catch you next time. You can catch me Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we wrap up Domain 2 with 2.3 through 2.5. Stay motivated. You guys are awesome. Lone Wolf 999999. We hope to have you back. Hope to have all of you back here at Slay Security Plus. Tell your friends, share this with other people. I may or may not take down this video. I got a little bit long-winded and there's some explanations that I want to go make sure that we're giving you correct information. But we had an awesome session tonight. Political change. You guys got it. And this was a little bit hard one. Espionage, right? Maybe financial gain. But here we see that these threat actors, they want to bring about changes in the organization's conduct, their political. When we think politics, sometimes it isn't always red team versus blue team or Democrats or Republicans. It's the political, the ideology. And so that's what this question is asking. And you guys were able to extrapolate this. Rodney Cagle, this happens twice a week. Monday nights, typically, it is Taylor Cyber Hamburglar McDonald. He is up here usually on Monday nights, and then I take care of the Thursday night. So we are twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been a great one, guys. We got a little bit long-winded, but we had a blast. Build your community. Take care of your loved ones. Be kind to your mind. Until I see you tomorrow morning for Jerry's live stream, I love you all. I am Jesse J. You are Wait a minute. Well, thanks you all. Practice test. Sorry, something popped up. I want to make sure everybody's getting answered. Okay, cool. You guys have a rocking night. I am Jesse J. You are